Now, if you know a little bit about Vietnam and its businesses here, the Vin Group is by far the largest conglomerate the country has. And their next target is to produce and sell cars in many more countries outside Vietnam. So, we are at the VinFast facility in Vietnam. We are at their factory. They have a test track here. And what we are driving today are the two cars that are going to come to India very soon. This is the VF6. This is the VF7. I'm going to give you a brief review of how they look, how they drive, and what you can expect in our video today. And interestingly enough, they will be produced in India in a factory that VinFast is building and should be ready in a month's time. And you can expect them to be, both the cars to be in the Indian market within the next couple of months. So let's find out more about them. Of course, other than the brand, the first thing that customers look for is the design of a car. And we have first up the VF6. This is just over 4 meters long. Interestingly, these are India-spec cars. They are still pre-production. Why is that important? I'll come to later. But compared to the VF6 that's sold everywhere else, including in Vietnam, this is an India-spec car. To give it a better, more muscular look, it's been raised. That also gives it better ground clearance. It runs smaller wheels than the international version with a higher profile sidewall, and I think it gives the car a much more butch look. It's a pretty clean looking design. And one more interesting fact, both cars are already in Indian tires. So obviously VinFast is looking to localize both the cars to quite an extent to help the factory to help manage the cost structure. Coming to the VF7, this is larger, just 4 roughly around 4.5 meters long, long wheelbase, bigger interior, comes with a bigger battery pack. Again, carries over the family signature DRL look, in between which is the big V logo. Compared to the VF6, in fact, the VF7 doesn't look that butch, but I think it's still an elegant and unique looking designs. So like a lot of other cars that are now in the market, when you see them on the roads, they're gonna make an impact. It also comes with Indian tires, bigger 19-inch wheels. And now let's get inside the cars, get a brief test drive experience and tell you more about them and what you can expect when they come to India very soon. So like I said earlier, Vin Group's VinFast, their automotive brand, has a lot of ambitions for the Southeast Asian market and other countries. They're already the biggest EV maker in their home country, Vietnam. And India figures very strongly, it's a priority market for them to develop. I think because developed markets are very hard to crack. In a market like India, you probably still have a lot of scope to establish a new brand. This is of course the VF6. This is just over 4.2 meters long. It's actually quite spacious inside. I mean, I'm 5'9". With my driving position, a friend another journalist who was 5'10", was sitting in the back, very comfortably, enough space, decent sized boot. It is going to be EV only, and it is going to come fully equipped. Interestingly, VinFast officials, they've done their research. They understand the market. They talk about how they need to package in more features than other countries in their cars for India, because the Indian customer is that demanding, and that's the reality. We are a very demanding market which wants everything at great value. To give you a quick look, the battery pack for the VF6 will be just under 60 kilowatt hours. Power is 150 kilowatts, which is about 200 odd bhp, just over 200. Torque is 310 Nm, of course, available from 0. So acceleration is pretty brisk. 0 to 100 comes up in under 9 seconds. You also get this big touchscreen here. Interestingly, the software of this, for all the functioning, for everything, is completely developed in-house by VinFast. The one thing that might be a bit polarizing for customers, you do get these shift and parking buttons on the dashboard, which are physical buttons, but virtually all other controls other than your indicators, your trip meter, and the wipers and some steering controls is controlled by the screen. Even to adjust your rear view mirrors, you need to access the screen. That might be something that might work for some, might be a hindrance for some. It'll be interesting to see how the customers respond. Also, as you would notice in our shots, it doesn't get a traditional speedometer instrument console. It gets a 4-color HUD projection that projects the data in front of the driver on the windscreen. That'll be quite interesting. I am quite used to the HUD, so I don't miss a speedometer console, but we'll have to see how other customers react. How does it drive? Well, I think it drives pretty well. It has different driving modes. It comes with a lot of ADAS features, level 2 ADAS. That was one of the things I gave feedback to VinFast folks for. Their lane keeping assist, when it tries to keep you in the lane, the steering response is very aggressive. For some drivers, that might not be the best thing. You'll also get this panoramic moonroof because as one of the lead engineers said to us, that the founder of VinFast, his goal is to give people safe cars, safety first and then technology. So they said, we don't want to give Indian customers an opening sunroof because then we see people driving with their kids hanging out and their friends hanging out, and I completely agree with them on that. Anyway, it's baffling how we think of panoramic sunroofs as very important for our market, whereas it might be the biggest hindrance in keeping your car cool in the summers. Safety again is very important. 7 airbags are standard. All of the other active and passive safety features, and both the VF6 and the VF7 from day one will come 5-star certified from Bharat NCAP, and they're also working to get it 5-star certified on the Euro NCAP platform. So what do I think of the VF6? I think it's a very promising product. It's got the space, it's got the features, it's got battery life. Real world range with a 60 kilowatt battery pack should be somewhere between 300-350 kilometers an hour. That should work for most customers. The question will be, how much will it cost, and how well is the VinFast brand established in India? That we'll see in the coming months. Now let's move on to their current Indian market flagship, the VF7, and both cars will be coming to India sometime around the July or August period. So we're in the VF7 now, which will, for the time being, be the flagship product of the VinFast range in India. Since it's a flagship, it's a much larger car, just over 4.5 meters long, and you can see even the interior with its leather finishing on the dashboard, on the door pads. It's it feels a lot more premium. It feels a lot more bigger, like it should. What was an interesting point VinFast people made today was that they've also developed vegan leather that they'll be offering in the Indian cars. So making it more acceptable to more people, because there's a lot of awareness, some for religious belief, some for just love for animals. So that's an interesting thing that they've developed, and they're gonna offer it to Indian customers. Again, larger car, so it also gets a larger battery pack. This is just over 70 kilowatts. And while the VF6 is front wheel drive only, single motor, the VF7 will be offered in 2 variants, a front wheel drive only, an all wheel drive with 2 motors. Performance is pretty quick. In fact, the dual motor all wheel drive VF7 does the 0 to 100 run in just under 6 seconds. Real world range in European testing with the larger battery is set to be 440 kilometers, but we'll have to see how much real world range or testing range we get for that in India. So that's a question for a later date. There are 2 issues that instantly come to mind when I sit in both the VF6 and the VF7. The rear visibility with the new design language that a lot of cars are showing is a bit on the lesser side, I would say. In fact, I would really like a lot more rear visibility, but That's a detail we'll discuss when we do our detailed review of the car very soon. Um, when you come to the multimedia layout, similar screen, all of the controls integrated into the screen other than the physical gear controls and the few ones on the steering wheel. Safety, again, this will be a 5-star Bharat NCAP car with a goal to get 5-star G NCAP too, and it will also come with 7 airbags. Another interesting feature, as you can see here, we'll show you it in the detail footage. Just above the steering, there is a camera mounted. This is to monitor the driver at all times and to detect if the driver is not paying attention or for drowsiness, and to alert the driver about either of the conditions. Again, there will be level 2 ADAS, all of those features, lane keep assist, automatic braking, a lot of those you will be able to turn off. And like the VF6, the VF7 also has different driving modes, eco, normal, sport, and different regeneration modes. So you can drive it without too much regeneration like how I like it, or you can do the one pedal thing with high regeneration and not have to use the brakes mostly. Once again, safety reasons, it will be a fixed moonroof that's offered in the VF7. This is also a very interesting product. I mean, in size, it's still a very manageable size. The space is well managed, the range is good. Once again, both with the VF6 and VF7, minor issues need to be sorted out, but essentially the challenge for the brand will be establishing and making customers accept that VinFast is a brand that deserves their money. And the other big factor will be pricing, and if they can manage to convince customers that what they're offering is very good value for money. So this is going to be a promising year for EVs. We've already seen really good launches, and with the VinFast range of vehicles, I think that market is going to get even more competitive. And if you're in the market for an EV SUV, I think you should wait for these two. They could be very good propositions to buy.